Gamebox Monthly sends a new awesome indie tabletop game right to your door every month. There are multiple subscriptions to choose from, and you can personalize them to fit your style. Also, you're guaranteed to never get a title you already have, letting you focus on what matters most, having a great time with great people.
So visit GameboxMonthly.com and use the promo code DRAGON to get an exclusive discount just for the Hell With This listeners.
Once again, that's GameboxMonthly.com.
Rediscover social.
Welcome to another episode of The Hell With This, where two people sit down, sometimes more than two people sit down, and we show a movie to the other person who hasn't seen it.
Yep.
Today, Chad Peter is out of town for the holidays.
Oh, where is he?
So I have second stringer Steve Phelan with me again.
Bench warmer Steve Phelan coming out on the boards.
Finally getting a chance in the field.
Yay! What is this, like my first time in 2017 that I've done this? I don't know.
It's been a while.
It's been 5 minutes.
When was the last one you were on?
Oh, dear. Was the last one the one that Chad did? The
Rumblefish, you were there for that.
Oh, yeah. It was Rumblefish.
That was the last one.
Oh,
But
yeah,
you did
yeah.
one prior to that.
Because that was... So that must... Was that before or after Magoo?
That was before.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, anyway.
That's how we're splitting our
Yeah.
year up.
Before Magoo and after Magoo.
PM and AM.
Yeah.
Poor Magoo.
Yeah. He was a good boy.
Yeah.
But we have another dog here that we've taken in from a shelter since Magoo left us, sadly. But no, things are going good otherwise. Can't complain.
I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
since you also are in the entertainment business,
Okay.
what do you do personally when you lose a job? Not like get fired from one, but you miss out on a job. You are not hired for the thing that you thought was a sure thing. And I'm asking because that just happened to me.
Well, for me personally, I just tend to let it go. As an actor, for the most part, like there are so many things that'll come up. Like I'll go and I'll do auditions, or I'll even see postings, and then people will get back to me and be like, "Hey, just want to make sure your passport's in order because we might need to bring you to London to do some of this stuff." Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, everything's in order, ready to go, and then you hear nothing.
Yeah.
So like you never
got
know.
John Ritter's son to do it instead, or whatever it is.
Well, he does have more hair than me. But no, like it's as an actor, where I come from, it's one of those situations where someone brought it up to me that you're not really signing up to be a professional actor in the beginning. What you're signing up to do is to become a professional auditioner. And so I get to the point where like my job interviews are auditions. And that's the way it is. Yeah. And you go through, a few of them some week. Sometimes you're full. Sometimes there's nothing going on. But what ends up happening is I just look on the bright side. I do an audition, and then let it go. Mm-hmm. I have to let it go. Because if I'm worried or thinking or longing for whatever happened in that room, then it's just going to ruin the rest of my life that week. So it's one of those
looking
things.
At like, oh, if only this one thing had gone differently.
Yeah. So like for me, the fact that I've got a side job to help keep things going, so it's not a huge deal. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just go in, I say, hey, this is what I'm doing, blah blah blah, do it to the best of my knowledge, and then go away. And
like
then
if you don't get it,
if I don't get it,
you sort of. I wonder, do you try to go in like expecting to not get it? So that if you don't, you're not disappointed any more than you were going in.
I go in to win the room, not necessarily the role. No. Because sometimes...
That's how auditions work.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't matter like what people think of 3 months down the line of that great audition you had. They have to like you in that moment.
Right, because the thing is that on top of auditioning for the role, you're also telling them whether or not you're worth hanging out with for the amount of time that they need you.
For months on end.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's like, for the most part, there have been times where people have been like, oh man, great audition. We can't use you right now, but we've got something else for you down the line, we think, so we'll be in touch. Mm-hmm. And that's happened before.
Where they actually do call you back.
Yeah. Yeah. And so honestly, I just, when a job leaves, an opportunity leaves, I let it go. Because if I get married to something, it's just too heartbreaking. And I understand how many actors can be like, oh my God, I really love that. I really wanted that. And it's just like, yeah, but it didn't happen. So on to greener pastures. Because something else, as long as you keep moving, has got to be there down the line for you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know necessarily for you. It sounds like you've built yourself quite the nice network, and you're in with some
I'm
amazing
glad you think
programs.
so.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's one of those situations where it's just like, well, you never know. Like, I don't know what's happening to me next month.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be nothing, or it could be something substantial.
As a point in fact, I don't either this time.
Yeah.
Because my job is pretty much over right now in Crazy X.
Well, you just keep moving forward,
Yeah.
and keep your ears open, listening for whatever's out there. And if you put it out there, I feel like that you're available and you're ready, you're willing.
Yeah.
In a positive way, not like you're dying for something.
Oh, I'm not above begging. I've done that before, and it's worked.
Well, there you go. But you see, you're charming with it. Some people like are very. I mean,
you can feel the desperation dripping off of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not desperate. I have some savings.
Right.
I just want to get a good job lined up.
So it'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
Let me add a wrinkle to this.
Okay.
Have you ever lost a job to someone you know? Like a friend. I mean, even an acquaintance, not a close friend. It doesn't have to lead to a family feud.
I'm sure I have at some point, but man, I don't remember it.
Yeah. This, I'm pretty sure this one, I did a great interview. It was one of the best interviews ever. We were joking, we were having a good time. They were talking to me like I already had the job. And then like 4 hours after I get home, sorry, we gave it to somebody else. Yeah. And, I said like, okay, well, if anything comes up, like if this person doesn't work out, let me know. I might still be available, etc.
Yeah.
And I was told that they hired this other guy basically for political reasons.
Yeah.
Which sounds to me like either the creator, producer, star brought somebody along and was like, no, you got to take this person. And they're just trying to satisfy somebody's ego. A political decision. So it sort of makes me feel better because it sounds like it would have been mine if it weren't for this political maneuvering going on.
But then a part of you is like, how can I jump into this politics?
Right. It's good to have friends in high places.
Right.
I don't have any of those.
But you never know. Like, for all you know, like, you're like, oh, hey, you know what? Totally understand. Hope to work with you in the future.
Yeah.
But for all you know, maybe they'll get back to you and be like, look, we have a mess here, and we need someone that we know who can clean it up. So, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Or it could be something like later on, you actually bump into them like, hey, we're really sorry we didn't get you on that thing, but we got something else coming up. Yeah. So, yeah, you just never know. Just keep in contact with people and keep positive. That's really all I can tell you. It might sound cliche, but it's kind of true.
It's all you can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're walking around,
to stay bitter.
Where,
where little, it makes a little pit in your stomach.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's working.
The sort of thing where like people can see you coming and just smell your farts from a mile away, just like, I don't know what his problem is, but let's avoid him. Oh yeah, Mark from that thing. Yeah, good to see you. Bye. Nah, dude, you'll be fine.
There's a little job hunting 101 for anybody else in Hollywood.
Just keep finding stuff to do.
Yeah,
and when you're bored, do your own stuff.
My God, my own stuff. I'm going to have to dig up some old scripts. Just elbowed your dog in the nose.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we're actually in a new location. Your first location, I think, ever. First time being in this location.
Yeah.
So we're at my place.
We've been at Chad's place before.
Yeah, we've been at your place. But now I got 2 pups here, and it's very Christmassy. We've got garland and stuff up on the what is that called?
The mantle?
The mantle. Thank you.
If only the audience could smell through the podcast.
Does it? Do you smell the
I smell the whatever that is.
Claire puts those up, and it's just like all Christmassy, and we got our tree up, ornaments on it. And we're going to watch a very Christmassy movie.
Scarecrow.
Not Christmassy at all.
Which sounds like a horror movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Is it like a road movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 70s...
I don't know anything about it, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's a 70s road film directed by Jerry Schatzberg.
Who has done what else?
Oh, God. He's done quite a bit. I had researched him a while back. I think, wasn't Midnight Cowboy his?
Maybe.
It's possible. I might have to look that up. People are like going, "Oh my god."
Let's hear an iPhone
Friggin'
click
idiot.
for a minute.
But no, the fact of the matter is that I chose it, and I think is this the first Pacino movie that you guys have actually done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had talked
And the
about.
first Gene Hackman movie.
Oh, is it the first Gene Hackman movie too?
Yeah, we haven't done The Conversation, and that's pretty much all he's done, right?
Yeah, that's all. That's the only thing. He's really not a well-known actor. I'm sad that he's kind of, that he's retired.
Well,
But it makes
it's sorta-
sense.
A lot of people online are saying it's good he got out when he did because nobody is going to bother accusing him of sexual assault anymore.
Yeah.
Hopefully he never committed any. But now that he's like away somewhere, no one's going to even mention him.
I'm sorry. Not in that Cowboy. Jerry Schatzberg did Pacino's actual first starring role.
Needle Park?
Yeah, Panic in Needle Park. He also did Street Smart, which was a Christopher Reeve movie with Morgan Freeman as well.
I haven't heard of any of these movies.
Yeah, a
except
lot
for
of
Panic
them.
in Needle Park.
Yeah, he's done actually quite a few. I think he's done quite a bit of producing as well. Honeysuckle Rose. I have heard about that a few times, but I've never seen it. I think that might. Oh yeah, the Willie Nelson movie. I think one of the mom and pop distribution joints is actually distributing that on a limited release Blu-ray of some sort. Excuse me. But yeah, that was one of the things is that when I heard about this movie, it kind of blew my mind because I was like, wow, Gene Hackman and Al Pacino in a movie together, like. How have I not heard of this?
Will wonders never cease?
And if I remember correctly, Scarecrow won the Palme d'Or the year it came out, but it was also a tie. I'm trying to remember. I didn't know that you could actually tie.
Yeah, I thought they had sort of a Supreme Court situation where it was an odd number, so there would never be a tie.
Yeah.
Unless you're allowed to split your vote up into fractions.
Let's see. Award wins.
Nice. Well, it doesn't
Son of a
matter.
bitch. Anyway.
We don't care about awards. We watch bad movies all the time.
Yes. And I'm not just necessarily saying it's a bad movie. It's definitely one of those 70s introspective character study films. And what I love about this is it's Pacino in a way that you probably have never seen before. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested to see what you think about that, and also the dynamic between these two alpha males in a production like this.
Is it better than Righteous Kill?
Oh, God. Yes.
I mean, talk about a couple of alpha males seeing Al Pacino like you've never seen him before.
Yeah.
Folks, I need to recommend Righteous Kill.
No, don't. Although,
Or 88 Minutes.
Oh.
Or The Hangman.
Did you see Hangman?
No, but
I saw it.
I could tell it was going to be bad.
This is what I'm going to say. Like, yes, I am an Al Pacino fan, and in many ways, he's like, that sports team that you really want to do well, and
you're not a fair weather fan. You don't just turn out for the good stuff.
No, I actually bought a rental of Hangman on Amazon On Demand, and I watched it. Yeah.
See, most people would just pirate something like that. You put like $4. Put your money where your mouth. 10.
I did put $10
because it was a
into
new
this,
release.
Because it was a new release on Amazon. Yeah. So it was just lazy all around. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was one of those things where like I love Carl Urban's work. And what he's done, particularly with Bones on Star Trek, is just phenomenal. And so I thought, like,
let's not leave out Dredd.
Right. I have not seen Dredd though. I really want to check it out.
Oh my God! After we record this, we should just watch Dredd.
Maybe we should. But like, I was expecting to see these two personalities at least do some good work, and no, and the writing is lazy. The dialogue is phenomenally horrible. No, it's not phenomenal.
Do you think it's got like cult movie written all over it?
I can't say that. I just
not even like Troll 2 bad. It's not enjoyably bad. It's just.
It feels like like Misconduct or 88 Minutes
What's Misconduct?
You never saw Misconduct? That's the one with Josh Duhamel
Okay.
and
Are they lawyers?
yes,
Okay. I
Anthony
remember seeing a...
Anthony Hopkins and Al Pacino were in that
I remember
together.
Anthony Hopkins, but not Al Pacino
Oh
in the
my
trailer.
God, the movie was so uneven.
Is it a sequel to Devil's Advocate?
No,
Would it have been better if it was?
no. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if it's just a cash grab thing, but it's like
you were saying he has kids like that are still
oh,
under
yeah,
18.
Yeah.
He's been a busy old man.
He has been, and I think he also was a victim of the Bernie Madoff situation. So
all of his college funds for the kids are gone.
I don't know. Like, I can't say that I know anything about what it is to live at that level.
It's expensive being rich.
I can imagine. All I can say is that, like I said, I really hope to God that when The Irishman comes out, that it's a good release for everyone involved, because I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. Now that I remember it.
Yeah.
Before we get into the movie, have you seen the new Star Wars movie, Last Jedi?
I've been trying to avoid everything.
You haven't seen it?
I have not seen it yet.
When are you planning to?
I'm hopefully going to see it tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Well, I guess we can't talk about it.
If not, then I might see it. I might see it late tonight. We'll see. But yeah, like I even said to my wife, because obviously we've got the in-laws coming this week for Christmas, and it was so funny because I said to her, I was like, so what are you thinking about Star Wars? And she said, well, I was thinking that we could go see it as a family. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I literally...
You mean I gotta wait another week for this shit?
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to stay away from all social media. I can't watch any of the YouTube videos about it. I'm staying away from everything and everyone to do with Star Wars until I get to see it. She's like, fine. She's like, okay, I get it. You're kind of a dork, but do this. Go ahead and see it, but just so you're aware, you might have to see it again. And I'm like, that's totally fine. And even especially being a Rian Johnson film, I mean...
And even if you're thinking it's like one of the bad ones, you can probably sit through it twice.
I don't know if I'd sit through Attack of the Clones twice.
True, that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I
need to rewatch it, though, to remember why.
What's fun to think about is, like, you look at Anakin and Padme and their relationship in that movie, and it's like they've been married 30 years and realized that it was the wrong choice to begin with. It's like that's what their romantic dynamic is in that movie.
Even when she says, hold me like you did by the lake on Naboo.
Oh, my God. I just love that part where she's like in her corset, like in front of a fire. And she's like, you're a Jedi. I'm a politician. Jedis and politicians don't mix. Like, don't wear what you're wearing and say shit like that. Like, that's just come on.
They basically
mixed signals, man?
They were on a diplomatic mission in the first movie. They were practically politicians then.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe it's not worth getting into.
I don't know what to be depressed more of, the latest run of video-on-demand Pacino films or the episodes 1 through 3.
Still,
maybe we should just get into Scarecrow.
A decade later.
Yeah.
I'm still so fucking mad.
I will say this, and everyone I'm sure agrees, no matter what, Han shot first.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Even the fucking kids who saw the special edition first, even they have learned that Han shot first.
Good for them. God bless them. Because I don't want them living a lie. I don't want them living a lie.
Apparently, Ron Howard's already said in the new Han Solo movie, Han shoots first.
Excellent.
I hope the first shot of the movie is Han just blowing somebody away.
Yeah, like almost like James Bond, like, fade up. There he is. It's just blaster. And everyone's like, yeah.
He shoots first.
Yeah.
Or else maybe that was the direction the comedy guys were going in, and then Ron Howard's going to make fucking Da Vinci Code in Star Wars land.
It's so funny because I think of Han Solo and I think of the way he is before he meets the rest of the rebellion and becomes a better person. Like, I feel like they're what makes him a better person. Yeah. So I'm like, man, the Han Solo prequels should be like just these horrible noir B movie, like you see him at like some alien strip club and like really messing with like a bunch of horrible people, and like it's ultra violent, and he's like unapologetic about everything that happens.
It should be like Goodfellas in Star Wars.
Pretty much.
And as that ends, he goes into whatever witness protection or something like that.
Or it should be the caliber of movie that used to be on like late night HBO, or like those B action movies that were just nothing but action and a little bit of boob and just
chicks in bikinis shooting machine guns.
Yeah. Pretty much like a grindhouse Star Wars film. That's what it really needs to be.
That would be cool. I'm sure they're gonna start with him as a kid, as a slave in the spice mines of Kessel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was some Facebook thread where people were throwing out every horrible idea that we know is going to be in like the Han Solo movie. I remember there was one for the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie that they're working on.
Uh-huh.
I still think a good idea for the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, if they ever make one, is he'll go back to his little hut in the desert, and one whole wall will be a trophy wall with alien skulls, like in Predator 2. So all the things he's killed on Tatooine over the years. Limbs he's severed, yeah.
That would be amazing.
Okay, maybe we should get to the fucking movie now.
Probably a good idea. From the B movie horror that we want to make out of the Star Wars universe, let's turn to the art house, introspective character study road film that is Scarecrow.
Introspective, you say? Certainly, it's not as introspective as Wings of Desire.
No.
Okay, that's what we
not
did
that
last
cerebral. No.
This will be a sigh of relief.
If I could describe it, I would say it's kind of like Pacino's version of Five Easy Pieces.
Okay.
So,
I'm intrigued. Let's proceed.
All right.
You think crows are scared of a scarecrow? Crows are laughing.
Crows are laughing.
That's right. Crows fly by, they see that, makes them laugh. Again, you stupid! Eat cantaloupe! You big-legged rhinoceros!
Behold, the captains of industry, the prospective owners of Maxie's Car Wash, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Maybe Maxie's Car Wash.
Car wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
For every car, there is dirt.
Max and Lion. The only difference between them and the Rockefellers is a few $100 million and about 1,500 miles. First off, there's Max.
I gotta tell you something about me. I'm about the meanest son alive, you know what I mean?
Huh?
I don't trust anybody. I don't love anybody. Hey, we're gonna be partners, okay?
Okay.
All right, come on.
Max did 6 years in prison for beating the hell out of a guy, and it didn't teach him a thing.
Okay, all right.
No, Max.
Just one way. Just
Max.
one way. Get out.
Believe it or not, Max is the brains of the partnership.
All of me.
Plastic pipe for durability. $600.
And then there's Lion.
I think your specialty is gonna be waxing.
Waxing?
No, and keeping the customers happy.
Lion figures if you can make somebody laugh, you won't ever need to fight.
Why did you call?
Stupid girl.
Get out of here.
Hey, Max! Hey, Max!
Lion is a scarecrow.
That's right. Crows are laughing. No, you don't have to hit people. Not if you make them laugh. No, crows are not scared, believe me.
The crows are scared.
No.
And the,
Crows are laughing.
crows are laughing, right? You know, in a joint, I heard some tales, man.
Oh, boy, howdy. I heard some tall tales.
You're not playing with a full deck, man.
It's been 5 years. You know, your wife might be married. She might have moved away. Why don't you give her a call?
Look, I want to see my kid, right? What am I going to do? Shove the lamp through the phone?
Sure. Send the money and see the world.
Annie, please. Look, let me come over.
I don't want to see you.
Max and Lion, the prospective owners of Maxie's Car Wash. All they have to do is get to Pittsburgh. But between California and Pennsylvania, there are a lot of ups.
Drinks on the house for everybody!
and a lot of downs. Max and Lion, the future owners of Maxie's Car Wash, Pittsburgh, PA.
I had him laughing, didn't I? Huh? You know what we're gonna have out in front of a car wash? A Scarecrow. That's what. Good night, world!
And that was Scarecrow.
Yeah.
That was a weird movie.
Yeah. It takes a lot, doesn't it?
I guess I didn't know what to expect from it, but it for being a road movie, like I always think of those things as being very linear. Like it's about people trying to get to a place, and then they get there, and that's the movie. That's the road trip movie sort of thing. And this is not too concerned with that like linear plot. It's more about the characters and just putting them in different situations and seeing what they get up to.
Now, honestly, like, yeah, it's not that there isn't a reason for them going on their journeys. Obviously, Max is trying to get to Pittsburgh to take care of the his finances for the car wash.
Wants to start a business, and he's basically like a hobo.
Right, and
They're
he's
both hobos.
but he's made up his mind. Like, he's one of those people that's just like, nope, this is the plan. I'm sticking to it. And for the longest time,
all these people are going like, why do you have to make a car wash in Pittsburgh? Why don't you make one here?
Yeah.
Like, you can send the money. You have them wire it here. Like, no, this is my plan. This is what I'm doing.
I'm doing it.
Get
This
off
is-
my fucking case.
Exactly.
He's a very angry man.
And of course, Lion Francis, he's basically just on the road because he's traveling back to meet his child that he has yet to meet because he was in the Navy, it sounds like, for 5 years.
Yeah. That's what he says, but then later we kind of the way that his he finally, spoiler, gets in touch with his old lady.
Yeah.
The mother of his child, and she gets all upset, very upset because he just left.
Right, and it wasn't that he was going to do his duty as a sailor, but as much as it sounds more like, okay, he
Time
probably
to get out of Dodge,
knocked her up, and
Yeah.
decided, oh well, I need to go into the Navy. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
I guess seeing her reaction to being in contact with him again kind of made me question the whole Navy story anyway.
In the first place,
Yeah, like maybe he has just been on the road getting away from it all.
it is possible.
It's
It
not
does make
important, I
sense.
guess. If it was
Well,
necessary to know that, they would have said so.
It's kind of funny because like the hat that he's wearing, like
Is that a Navy thing?
you'd think so, but then it's actually a ski mask.
Ah,
So it's possible that like maybe it is a complete lie. Maybe he's just a guy who like got a lady pregnant and decided, oh shit, I don't know how to deal with this. I got to go. And maybe he has been drifting for 5 years.
yeah.
Just like Max, Gene Hackman's character, has been
He's in jail
Jail.
for getting in fights.
Yep, which
He
apparently
continues to do throughout the whole fucking movie.
which apparently is not unlike Gene Hackman.
I was kind of checking out the trivia before.
Yeah.
Al Pacino and Gene did not get along during the making of this movie.
Not great, but at the same time, from the sounds of it, it was more of like it was pretty surfaced for the most part.
Oh, they just
They
it wasn't like
it's
they
not
were
like
fisticuffs.
no, it's not like they were.
Because I mean, there are certain parts of this movie where the characters are not getting along too.
Right.
But aside from that, it's not like I detected any kind of weird anti-chemistry on screen.
Right,
They seem
in
to
fact,
do pretty well.
And I mean, what I love about this film, like you said, plot-wise, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of movie that will get to the point. And I think that's why I like a lot of 1970s films, because for the most part, they do tend to deal more. A lot of them are actors' projects in a major way, and they tend to be very focused on behavior with regard to performance. And this movie, it's just full of it. If it were any less actors, I could see this being a harder watch. But being the two actors that they are, It's very. I
It's
find myself.
fascinating.
Yeah,
It really is. It pulls you in just seeing these guys
Yep.
do their thing.
Absolutely.
Another thing I read online was that it was originally supposed to be a Jack Lemmon, Bill Cosby vehicle, like a comedy film.
Yeah.
And I assume Bill Cosby would have been the Gene Hackman role because he's the bigger guy out of those two people. He would have been the fighter.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would have been a very different movie. That would feel like
There'd be a whole lot more
one of
Ruffalo
those
in it, I'm sure.
Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon movies.
Come here, Bogey. Oh, these dogs. They're crazy. Walking around. I've got you. You're not going anywhere right now.
So I did like it. There's a lot to dig into here. What draws you to this thing besides the performances? Does it mean anything to you as a story, as a film?
What draws me to it is watching the dynamic of the two characters, and it's almost like they literally cross. You start off with Pacino in this performance that very few people have probably ever seen him in. He's just this goofball. He's just this lovable goof.
He's doing like weird little one-man shows on the side of the road trying to pick up a car.
And what few people know is that he actually started out doing kind of a slapsticky stand-up routine when he was trying to, come out as an actor in New York City. He started doing some comedic stuff. And so a lot of the little slapstick, the bumps and the pratfalls and just the goofy stuff, like that's kind of closer to what he was doing when he was
really
starting
funny.
off. Yeah, a lot of people don't expect Pacino.
As soon as he did The Godfather, it was like, buy comedies. I'm sure he's done a few here and there.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, he's obviously a very serious theatrical actor, and I believe by this time he'd won a Tony for Does a Tiger Wear a Necktie? So I mean, he's done serious drama obviously up to that point as well. But what's so great is watching the arc of his character, because he's one of those people that you hate to love from the standpoint of Max. Max is a loner. Max doesn't want any ties to anything. It's his way or the highway, and it turns out that his way is the highway, so fuck you, get off his highway. Like that's kind of the way Max is, but Lion endears himself to him. And so you're watching this lovable goof, but at the same time, like, you're watching the road take its toll on Lion. You're watching the consequences of his actions take their toll on Lion. Where on the flip side of that coin, you're looking at Max, and all of a sudden you watch him bloom.
Yeah, you really see him open up to other people. He starts being the funny one instead of Lionel.
And the circumstances that they are put in and the way things end up toward the end, your heart breaks for both of them in a very bittersweet way. More bitter for Lion, but very bittersweet for Max. And that's one thing that always got me, because I don't think I've ever seen Gene Hackman in such a tender role. Like, I loved him in Hoosiers. In fact, obviously his introduction for me was as Lex Luthor. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I remember my dad taking me to this little movie theater to watch this movie, Hoosiers. And this is back in the day when my dad would say, "Hey, we're going to go see a movie." I'd be like, "Is it cartoon?" He'd be like, "No." I'd be like, "Nah, I don't want to see it." But Hoosiers was phenomenal.
That's a great movie.
But it took me a while to warm to Gene Hackman, because for the longest time I only knew.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Why are we watching him? Like, I didn't trust him when I started watching Hoosiers. But
isn't the plot of that movie like all the people in town don't really like him either?
Yeah.
So he has to win them over the way he won you.
And he won me over the same exact way. And it was kind of funny because it felt really close to home, because the team in the movie, their colors were red and gold. And Regis Royals, Regis High School, my mom was a teacher there her entire, well, not her entire, but while she was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I was born and raised. She worked there my entire life. The whole faculty knew me all the way up through my junior year. The only reason I didn't graduate from Regis was because they consolidated with the other school across town and became a different school.
Yeah.
But their school colors were red and gold, and so like it was very familiar
It
to
hit
me.
home.
And actually, St. Matthew's Catholic school, I went through that school. It's kind of funny; they were red and gold as well. Like that was just the colors that I grew up with. And of course, Superman was huge for me, and you got the red and gold S. That's kind of funny. Never thought about that. And then turns out blue is my wife's favorite color.
Blue, red, and gold.
Maybe I've been chasing Superman all these years.
Tell her that tonight when she gets home.
Yeah.
I only married you because of your favorite color.
Because your favorite color.
It complemented my favorite colors.
Yep. Superman motif going on. But no, like that's what really hits me in this film. Is just the relationship that blooms between them. But I'm not gonna lie, it's work. It takes work to get through to it.
It's definitely a slow movie. It starts with like a couple of long takes.
Yeah, like you said. And it's funny, I was thinking like I know I had said 5 easy pieces, but really this is more, it is in many ways kind of like their version of Urban Cowboy as opposed to 5 easy pieces. But I think 5 easy pieces because it's almost it might be slower and more deliberate than that film. But also like I feel like this is it's not what I was expecting after Jerry Schatzberg's Panic in Needle Park.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely got some feeling of authenticity in there. I don't know if are you very familiar with that one?
No.
Well, basically, it just follows a whole bunch of druggies in New York, and you're following Al Pacino's character and the woman that he falls for, and how drugs kind of destroy them.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a fun movie.
No, but and very like 1970s, behavioral character study fashion. These movies don't really have an ending. Like they're very anticlimactic. Like there's something to be said for what you see in the end, but it's not like the end. It's more like,
Yeah. I do feel, God, despite Al Pacino being in a coma, I do feel that there is a little bit of hope at the end of this movie. Gene Hackman, Max, he goes to a bus station. I assume it's a bus station?
Yeah.
Not a train station.
Judging by the prices.
Yeah,
but hey, this is the
low.
70s. What do we know?
He's buying a ticket to, where?
Pittsburgh.
And the ticket agent says round trip, and he kind of takes a second because now Lionel is in a coma in a hospital where he's leaving. He takes a second to think, and he says, yeah, round trip. Yep. And then he can't come up with the money, and he has to come up with this whole thing. He takes out his boot, and he kind of gets a hidden 20 or something out of his a 10 out of his boot, and it kind of that's the conclusion of a running gag where he's always sleeping with a boot under his pillow because he's got his emergency $10 in his boot.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more in there. I don't know. But just the fact that he's planning on coming back, whether he manages it or not, that's another story. That would be the sequel, I guess. But
it's such a beautiful moment.
It's a big turn for his character because at the beginning of the movie, he was yelling at Lionel to get off the fucking road. He's trying to pick up a ride. Get out of here. And now he's like, he's going to upend his whole life, essentially. He's going to come back with this money that he allegedly has in Pittsburgh, and he's going to get him better medical care. He's going to get him out of the hospital.
It's no longer about the car wash anymore,
right.
I don't think.
He doesn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Where at the beginning, he only wanted to be alone.
Exactly. Like it was so funny. It's like, here he is. Like literally what I love about the writing in this film is the fact that he's always contradicting himself. So like in the one moment he's like, I'm looking, you want to be my partner? We're going to go into business together, but don't you fuck me.
Because I will
break your back. He bends a fork. He tells him, he's like, I don't care about anyone but me. I don't blah 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 blah. But we're gonna do great. We're gonna be partners. And it's like, What?
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy?
In that same scene, that was really funny. They sit down at this diner to order food, and they start out like, "Oh, can we just get some coffee over here?"
Yeah.
And the waitress walks away, and I'll take some oatmeal too.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want? Cornflakes
Cornflakes.
and some scrambled eggs. And, okay, anything else? And bacon.
And bacon. Yeah.
And at the end of the
and
scene,
toast.
And yeah, she walks away, and toast. And at the end of the scene, he yells over, he's like, "Can I get a beer and a chocolate donut?"
Yep. And I don't know if that was necessarily expected, because I think even
Al
Pacino
laughed
started
at
laughing.
that, yeah.
And actually,
But he's just like this. He doesn't know. He claims he has this plan, but everything he does is totally unplanned.
Yep. I'm just recognizing now there were no cutaways in that entire
No, that's a
scene.
one take.
That's all one
That's a
take.
oneer.
And also, what's interesting, I think one of the other pieces of information is the actress playing the waitress, apparently, like, she had messed up accidentally when he's just like, "Is this your first day?"
Yeah, that was an ad lib.
He meant that as like to her as an actor.
Yeah,
almost.
and then
It's
nobody
just
said
like,
cut, so they
wow. Like, but it works so well. I mean, there's
Because
just
she got the placement of
Yeah.
the orders wrong.
exactly. But man, like, and that's the thing, is this movie, I feel like it is rewarding, but it is a lot of work. Like,
Because
do you
it's
ever
not,
do you think
because it's so atypical. It doesn't go where you think it's going to go.
Exactly.
It's unexpected. And like when they go back to jail, I thought they were going to spend the rest of the movie in this jail.
Yeah, you're like,
what the
oh,
fuck?
so now we're in Cool Hand Luke. All right.
Yeah, I was expecting something like that, but then it's a 1 month sentence and they're back on the road and they go off. And that was
But now without a little bit of destruction of
that's
Lion.
what starts to take down Lionel.
yeah.
Because one of the other prisoners who he has befriended and he's getting like the good treatment from because he's in charge of the work schedule.
Yeah.
You know,
Riley.
played by Lynch, somebody Lynch.
Yeah, the guy's been in like
He's been in 161
100
movies.
like tons of projects.
He died a few years ago, but he's been in a lot of stuff. One of those character guys.
Yeah, Richard Lynch.
And he
was
starts to
in Serpico too, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Makes this move on Lionel, like,
Right.
"Hey, I've been really helping you out around here, basically.
I'm
Time
here
to
for
repay.
18 months. I was wondering if you might be able to
Give me some
relieve
relief."
me. Yeah, give me a little relief.
And it turns into a whole thing. Lionel gets his face bashed in, and then Max bashes the other guy's face in.
Yep.
And that, I don't know. There's a lot to this movie. I don't think we need to do a complete synopsis of every scene. But
No, but there is tons to unpack. But I'll tell you what, like, for me, the one thing, and the reason why I always come back to this movie is that phone call and his reaction at the end. Like, after, he's been told that the baby died before even being born.
Which I want to note for the audience is not even true.
Correct. Like, and
This
that's
woman
the
is
other
lying
heartbreaking
through
thing.
her teeth just to hurt him.
And the other thing to realize is that seeing it again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, and I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times. But recognizing that she's basically telling him this lie, and basically it just destroys Lion in the next few scenes. He becomes catatonic, and that's basically the movie for him. But there's a moment where his son almost picks up the phone before his mom picks up the phone. And
it would have been a very different outcome.
And that's everything. That's like the motif of this whole movie. Like the woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like what life would have been like if this happened or if that happened, and all this stuff that in particular Max is trying to avoid because he knows the way it's supposed to be, Mm-hmm. And he comes across and reunites with his sister, right, Coley?
Yeah.
And that's what, between her and her friend, who he's really sweet on, and the influence of Lion, that's what makes him decide to finally bend his rules a little and decide, well, maybe this is the place to bring my car wash to. So I think that's where things start to move and change. But yeah, regardless, like I said, that scene where he's comes out pretending to be all proud and it's a boy,
Yeah. After this,
when Lion says that to
his
Max.
ex has said
It's just
she
heartbreaking.
lost it in an accident falling down the stairs because he wasn't there to help her.
and it wasn't even born, and because of that, you put your baby's soul in limbo. Like,
And we've established that he's Catholic.
yeah. But then what's interesting is we go back to her after he hangs up, and you get the feeling from her, oh
yeah.
shit, I shouldn't have said that.
She's still there, and she's like, Francis? She wants to keep talking.
Yeah.
She didn't want him to... Like, she just wanted to hurt him for a second.
Yeah,
But now she can't take that back.
she can't. She can't.
So that's going to be on her soul for the rest of her life, you know?
Well,
someday she'll find out what happened to
until
Lionel.
Max comes over. I mean, he knows where she lives. He's like, "Why the hell would you say something like that to my friend Lion?" Like, you could totally. You show him his kid, goddammit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got nothing. Oh, the only other thing I got to say is Eileen Brennan, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Very different from Miss Peacock. Bullseye.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, if there are any Eileen Brennan fans out there, they've definitely seen this movie already.
Probably. For one reason and one reason only. It was definitely not the way I'd ever seen Eileen Brennan. Ah, yes.
I wanted to talk about the final shot of the movie, or the last couple.
Okay.
It's after he's bought his ticket, because he finally came up with the money out of his boot.
Yep.
And now he's putting the heel back on his boot, and he's pounding it on the counter.
Yeah.
And you would think, okay, a few pounds of his shoe would get that thing back on, but the movie makes a point of dragging that out. We got like 4 shots of him just sitting there, boom, 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 with his boot on the counter in front of this ticket agent. And that kind of just brings back, to me, like it evokes the violence that we know he's capable of. He's a thumper, you know?
Yeah.
That's all he knows how to do is hit things. So what does that say about him? Is that supposed to make us think that left to his own devices, he's just going to be doing that without Lionel with him to remind him what the Scarecrow does, which is, for the record, make the crows laugh. The Scarecrow of the title is supposed to be make people laugh and they'll be your friends. You don't have to get in fights all the time. But now that he doesn't have Lionel with him, all he does is hit stuff.
That's a really interesting way of looking at it.
As hopeful as I want to be that he's got this round trip ticket, I think he's going to get in trouble in Pittsburgh.
There could be it could be that also maybe the influence of Lion without Lion being there is more fuel to the fire, because I feel like Max without Lion, he would have been like, I'll be right back. And he'd have gone to the bathroom. He'd have gone in a stall where no one could see what he's doing. Whereas being out and about and just...
He revealed his last
secret.
Yeah.
He didn't care who else was around. He was doing this thing out in public.
Because his whole thing has been, who can I trust without Lionel? Who am I going to trust?
Right.
Well, nobody stole his fucking money.
So, I mean, basically not only that, but like, not only the fact that he is this bruiser, but he's now completely unfiltered because of Lion. So, like, he'll do anything out in public. He won't worry about making a fool of himself or this or that. But, I mean...
It could go either way.
It could. It really could.
But it's really fat. This is like a movie. And I only point this out because most movies today aren't. This is a movie where those things matter. Like, it really makes you think about the characters. And it's not just like, oh, and they lived happily ever after. It's not a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And I like Marvel movies, but they do their thing. They don't make you think a whole lot.
True.
There's not a lot of...
Yeah. What'd you think of the music?
I thought in the first act or so, they did some interesting music edits where it felt like it was going into a music montage.
Yeah.
And then it like cuts and they're inside a diner. And you don't get that moment of like fun adventure on the road. You get that later once they're better friends, but not at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I noticed there was... I bopped your dog in the face.
Oh, he's used to it.
Accidentally. Not on purpose, guys. I noticed Midnight Hour playing in the background of one bar.
Oh, yeah.
But what did you mean about the music?
I mean more like the score.
Oh, no, I didn't even pay attention.
Okay, it's just like that weird, kind of on the road sort of like happy-go-lucky piano plunking with a little bit of like a and then like
I noticed you got the Jew harp. That's what they call that thing.
That's what it's called?
The Jew harp.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
There may be an older name than that, but it's like the common nomenclature is called the Jew harp.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. But then on top of it, you've also got that like rudimentary trumpet solo that feels like it's someone like who's just kind of learned the music, you know? It's really interesting because it's like it's not what I would have ever picked for a score to a movie, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it.
I think it was the 70s. They were taking a lot of chances.
It's possible.
We're just letting it all hang out.
I mean, it does feel kind of goofy, like a Scarecrow's supposed to be goofy, according to Francis Lyon. But yeah, I don't know. Like, if I wonder if they would have it to do again if they would use the same music.
No, I bet not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different time. If you waited even 1 year to make the movie, everything and...
I mean, like, if Jerry Schatzberg, like, looked at the cut and decided if there's anything he wanted to change, what would it be? Mm-hmm. I wonder if he would change that at all.
I wonder.
How'd you feel about the Vilmos Zsigmond's camera work?
There were a lot of long takes.
Yeah.
A lot of shots with a long lens where they were just walking down the street. Starts in a super wide, ends up in a super close-up on Gene Hackman. There was nothing about... I mean, it felt like the real world. It didn't feel like there were any lights set up. It seemed like 100% real locations and actual existing light.
Yeah.
And they made it work with what they had.
I feel like they may have had a few lights here and there because they just needed them. Mm-hmm. And then there were a few like pretty sorry-ass day-for-night shots.
But I didn't see any like notable photography like, wow, that looks amazing.
Right.
I think they did a good job of making it feel like you're down in the grungy gutter with these guys.
I feel like I would have loved the beginning shot or a lot of the beginning shots if they weren't so soft. I feel like there was some issues with the focus on them. But other than that, like you said, like, yeah, they go into places and it really feels authentic.
Yeah.
It really it's like, I don't know. I feel like these kind of grungy hole in the wall or like something about the 70s era and the way people were and like these little sidebars and these little diners, these greasy spoons and things.
It's 11:30 a.m. and there's already 15 drunks inside this bar.
Right? And I also couldn't get beyond the fact that I'm looking at the way these drifters are operating. And I remember hearing Bryan Cranston talk about what it was for him. Like he and his brother went on a cross-country kind of tour where they would go places and they'd pick up odd jobs. And then when they had enough money, they'd move on. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those situations where I'm like, that life is dead. It's like, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And a part of me feels like that's horrible.
Step one, good luck getting anybody to pick you up as a hitchhiker.
Right.
Since it's illegal in most places, or was it at the time? I don't know. People are not trusting anymore, regardless.
Right.
You'll never get a ride. But let's say you hoof it the whole way. No one's going to hire you for little odd jobs without a social security card and like 3 references.
Precisely.
You won't get a job washing dishes.
Yeah, there's so much red tape anymore. Like you can't just go anywhere anymore like a nomad and be like, "Hey, I'll do what you need me to do. Mm-hmm. No questions asked."
Yeah, and it's like overall I think that's good. I'm a fan of civilization, but it is a very different world.
Yeah.
It's harder to get away from all these things.
And it gets me to thinking particularly about the homeless situation here in LA and like the encampments and the way that they're growing. And it's like, would this be the same issue back in the 1970s if it were the same people? Mm-hmm. Or would they be going from place to place trying to find odd jobs and being able to kind of rent a room for a night? And mm-hmm. It's so surreal. It's so alien to the way things are right now. And it makes me wonder what like a millennial might think watching a film like this. You know?
I don't know. Technically, I think we are millennials.
We're zennials.
Are you sure?
Yep. I am.
It doesn't feel very zen. When were you born?
I'm 36. I was born in 81.
You're older than me. I thought you were a year younger than me for some reason.
No. I believe I think someone came up with it because we're right between Gen X and right between millennials. Like we are there's like a certain small portion of us who were alive and remember a time before, like, I think even
High-speed internet?
the cordless phone.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
is what it was. It was either the cordless phone or email came around when we were in high school.
Right. I mean, my earliest memories are probably in 85, 86,
Okay.
somewhere. And everything was manual. I remember we had cable TV when I was a little kid. But
Yeah.
it was the kind where you had the big box on top of your TV and you had to actually hit the button. Like each channel, all 25 channels would have their own button. You had to manually switch it over.
I had the dial.
We had a TV with a dial too.
No, not even like it was like a cable box dial.
Oh.
So it was like a dial with, I believe, like I think somewhere upwards to like 60 or 70 notches on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always remember, like, HBO was channel 5, but like, yeah, just remember having to go and turn that on. Do you remember VHS players, VCRs with a clicker, so that if you're recording something on TV, you could click the button and it was connected by a wire to the machine, and it would allow you to pause during the commercials and then keep going. Like you could click it again and it would play. It would
manual
record
DVR
again.
to skip the commercials. We didn't have one with the wire attached. The only VCR we had at my house was a wireless remote.
Gotcha.
I know of their existence. I've read
of
about
course.
it in books.
Of course.
The old history tomes.
Who knew that this movie would turn into a back in my day?
Well,
we aren't
this
even
movie comes from way back when.
Yeah, I don't think we're even half their age. So I think Pacino's like, he's pushing 80 now, isn't he? Pretty sure.
I think. Yeah, he's late 70s now. Gene Hackman is in his early 80s, right?
Probably
83, I think, but I haven't really looked recently.
But in any case, definitely a thought-provoking movie. Would you tell someone to watch it or not?
That always depends on who I'm talking to at the time. It's good. Chad would love this movie, I think.
Do you think Chad would like it?
I think he would.
I think Chad would be like, fuck, this is fucking boring.
We just watched Wings of Desire. That was his choice.
Wings of Desire was his choice?
Yeah, he loves Wim Wenders.
Well, I like Wim Wenders too,
Paris,
but
Texas.
even I love Paris, Texas.
I have not seen Paris, Texas. I'm sure you're making a face now. It's on my list. I'm sure I'll get to it on the podcast before too long. But how does Paris, Texas, tonally, thematically, whatever, compare to Scarecrow?
I would put Paris, Texas above this for sure.
Okay.
Did I ever tell you my Paris, Texas story?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know you've ever been.
Well, I have that poster in the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
It's a big, beautiful Italian poster from the movie Paris, Texas. I got it at Amoeba Records back during the first time I lived in LA was 2004, 2006. At that time, I was pulling down 2 jobs, right? And so one of the jobs was as a barista up at the Beverly Glen Starbucks. And it was late at night, and this was one of those days where I had worked in the morning at my waiter job in Westlake Village, and then I was basically in the car 2 hours a day, and then working two jobs, and one of them was an extra part-time job on top of another full-time job.
Wow.
So it had gotten to the point where, like, it was right before I started temping at Fox, and I was really getting to the end of my rope there. Like, I was having a hard time, just the hardest time, just kind of keeping it together. And I just remember this lady comes in, and it's like 9:30. She comes in with like a little girl who's like 5 years old maybe. And she comes in and she's looking at the menu at Starbucks at 9:30 at night with a little girl in tow. And I remember going like, what are you, what?
I have heard this story.
Why are you doing this? You have heard this story.
Yeah, but
so
tell me the details.
So all of a sudden she says, do you have any drinks for little girls? And I'm like, in my head, all I'm thinking of is this is Starbucks. Like, like we have
We have
coffee.
juice,
We have
maybe.
there's like some juices and like some like passion fruit tea. But like, what are you doing with it's 9:30. We're gonna close. Like, I'm trying my best to be polite, but I know that I'm kind of being a dick, and I'm trying not to be a dick. But at the same time, like, I'm incredulous to her. But I don't even remember how the transaction goes through. I just remember later that night, I finally get home. This is back when I was living with Chad. And I'm sitting there and I'm decompressing, watching some TV, and I look over to the right, and there's my Paris, Texas poster. And it hits me. Oh, shit. I was just a complete dick to Nastasia Kinski. It was her, and I don't know if it was probably her daughter, and like, it was one of those moments. I was just, it was one of those moments where I regret in my life. Like,
That's okay. She doesn't think about you at all.
oh, I'm sure she doesn't. I'm sure she doesn't even remember. But yeah, so that was my funny little story to do with Paris, Texas, because I love that film.
Yeah. Okay, so you like it more.
Yeah.
But is it the same kind of movie?
No.
Okay.
I would say
this just shows you how much I know
would
about
say
Paris, Texas.
I mean, yes, it's the same kind of movie. Are they both road movies? Yes. Tonally, they're incredibly different. I would say this one definitely has its moments of comedy and its moments of pathos. I feel like there's a romantic fire underneath Paris, Texas that's just unquenchable. And yeah, that's all I can say. Tonally, they're different.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Paris, Texas is exactly the same as Scarecrow. So if you like one, you're going to like the other.
No, not necessarily. I can see someone tuning out of Scarecrow. I can see someone tuning out of both. I mean, honestly, like...
That's what I'm talking about. Like, it seems like a movie, Paris, Texas, I mean, that I would just kind of be like, oh, it's fucking Euro trash art house stuff.
I think you're going to like it.
Okay.
I think you're going to like it.
And one way to find out.
If you guys end up doing it some point, please invite me along. I want to be there for your first ride on.
I'll run it past Chad. He doesn't like you that much, but I'll run it past him.
It's true. He hates me.
It happens when you live with people. You just go, oh, fuck, I can't stand this person anymore.
That's why he hates you too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's why he got his own place. Got a girlfriend.
Girls are dumb.
Ugh.
You should.
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
Ugly, gross girls.
Ugly, gross girls. They got cooties and everything.
And they stink.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Hell With This. My name is Mark Heiliger. I'm on Twitter.
My name is Steve Phelan. I'm also on Twitter at Steve Phelan Acts is my professional, and LStevieP is my normal feed, which I hardly ever, really, ever, rarely do. But sometimes you'll see posts like my posts for my voice stuff every once in a while, but that's about it.
All right. Maybe Chad will be back next time. Maybe not. Maybe he's moving to fucking Delaware.
Hi. I'm in Delaware.
It's Dragon Wagon.